From the CBS Bay Area studios, this is KPIX 5 News.
Welcome back. It is 6:30. Good morning. I'm Devin Fehely.
And I'm Melissa Kane. And developing news, Richmond police are investigating a shooting that wounded 3 people. It's happened yesterday evening near Morningside Drive and Valley View Road. It's a residential neighborhood not far from De Anza High School where a football game was in progress. Richmond police believe the shooting was related to a fight, but they've given no indication as to whether it was connected to the school or the game. But people at the game definitely heard the gunfire.
It was too loud, and then all you heard was bop, 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 bop. And it was like, and everybody got confused. And like 20 minutes later, bop, 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 bop. And everybody started running. It was crazy. After I ran, I made sure like my brother, my mom, my dad, and everybody like that was around me was okay.
Police say 2 people were seriously wounded and 1 other has minor injuries. So far, no suspect information has been released.
The pilot of a small plane is recovering from minor injuries after crash landing on Highway 99 in Modesto. The single-engine Piper PA-28 went down just before 8 o'clock last night near Crow's Landing Road. The plane burst into flames on impact. The good news is no one on the ground was hurt. The CHP says the pilot is a 59-year-old man from Santa Cruz. He was the only person on board. Now, at one point, the accident blocked all southbound lanes of Highway 99, but that stretch is back open this morning. It's not clear what caused the plane to have problems.
Here's a live look at Oracle Park in San Francisco, where it's the final weekend on the job for Giants manager Bruce Bochy. He's the only Giants manager ever to win a World Series in San Francisco, and now he's leaving the team after 13 seasons. Bochy was applauded before last night's game as he walked with the widow of team legend Willie McCovey. Bochy won more than 2,000 games in his 25-year managerial career. He worked with both the Giants and the San Diego Padres.
Memories are amazing, and it's hard. So in that sense, it's also a little bittersweet. But we're all, our heart is filled with love and emotion for Bruce.
The Giants were long ago eliminated from this year's playoffs, so the games today and tomorrow are Bochy's final 2. Ceremonies are planned for both days. And it's official, the A's are going to the playoffs for the 2nd straight year. They clinched a wild card spot. Vern Glenn will have the details coming up in just a bit.
Luke Walton is speaking publicly for the first time about sexual assault allegations against him. Walton, a former Warriors assistant coach, became the Sacramento Kings head coach in April. Now, days later, a former TV sports reporter filed a lawsuit against him. Kelly Tennant says that Walton kissed and groped her without her consent. Yesterday, Walton was asked if the pending lawsuit is a distraction.
It's the same thing I tell my players. You know, we're together as a group, and what we have to focus on is what we have in front of us and what we can control. So it's, this is my job. It's my job to be the best for my players, to be there for my players, and that's what I plan to do.
Last month, an independent investigation for the Kings and the NBA concluded that there was insufficient evidence for those allegations.
Just in, Metallica says its frontman James Hetfield has entered rehab. As a result, the band is canceling its upcoming tour in Australia and New Zealand. Just earlier this month, Metallica performed at Chase Center for its opening night along with the San Francisco Symphony. And an update this morning on that dive boat tragedy off the California coast. The ATF has completed a 2-week investigation, but they say this morning they still don't know what caused the fire. 34 people were killed on the Conception. Officials say parts of the vessel have been sent to labs for additional testing.
New details on a deadly skydiving accident. A woman was killed when she landed on a freeway and was hit by a big rig. The CHP says the victim was skydiving with a group that took off from the Lodi Parachute Center. The owner of the skydiving center says that despite windy conditions, the woman had the experience to make a safe landing.
I would say her indiscretion was the factor that led to the incident. We've jumped in winds much higher than that. Everybody else on the load landed in the right place. For whatever reason, she just went too far downwind is the expression we use.
FAA skydiving regulations do not address wind conditions. Authorities say they will investigate whether the parachutes were properly packed.
Investigators say a Missouri man who is suspected of setting fires near Calaveras Reservoir was in town to attend a high school reunion. 68-year-old Freddie Graham is charged with setting 13 grass fires last month. The largest burned 128 acres but caused no injuries or damage to buildings. He's being held at Elmwood Jail on $2 million bail. Richard Santoro is a former classmate at Samuel Ayer High School who spoke with Graham at the reunion. He says nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but Graham did say he was saddened by the recent death of his wife.
He had shared with me that his wife had passed away and that he had dreams of driving in the Milpitas Hills and showing her, where he grew up.
A CAL FIRE report says that Graham was arrested on Monday at Mineta International Airport. He was identified after a witness reported a suspicious vehicle in the area of one of the fires. That description was linked to a car rented by Graham. He's due in court on Monday.
And new video this morning from a South Korean port where an oil tanker explosion left 9 sailors injured, including 1 in critical condition. This is the southern port of Ulsan. The tanker was flagged by the Cayman Islands and had 25 crew members aboard. The fire spread to another tanker nearby, but all crew members from both ships have since been rescued. Scientists believe it could be just a matter of time until Italy's Mont Blanc Glacier collapses. The ice is melting quickly at nearly 2 feet a day, which is threatening a nearby town. The mayor has closed roads, cutting off access to restaurants, hotels, and hiking routes.
An update on Boeing. The FAA has ordered inspections of one of the 737 models after warnings of major structural cracks. Boeing notified the FAA that when they were modifying the plane, they discovered damage in the parts that attach the wings to the body of the aircraft. Similar 737 models were grounded earlier this year after crashes killed more than 300 people.
Congress is taking action against hotels and their pricey hidden charges. New legislation takes on so-called resort fees. The legislation would require hotels to list all charges, not just mandatory government taxes and fees. This comes after 2 lawsuits allege that the fees violate consumer protection laws. One congressman said that over the course of this fiscal year alone, hotels are projected to make $3 billion in hidden fees. A San Jose church is dealing with a burglary for the 3rd time this year. Thieves most recently hit the Almaden Valley United Methodist Church Monday after similar incidents in February and March. Now, each time the culprits targeted a storage shed behind the church on Blossom Hill Road.
They stole everything they could carry out of the Boy Scout side. Cook stoves, tents, canopies, whatever that was available to steal, they stole. We had no more equipment here except a broken down lawnmower, which they didn't take. They could have cleaned that out for us, we'd have been happy.
Church leaders say the congregation loves this part of the city and will once again begin the process of replacing equipment and offering prayers. Authorities in Santa Clara County are warning about a new phone scam.
And they say callers are falsely claiming to represent county agencies and asking for money. The callers say they're from the Superior Court or from the sheriff's office, and they tell whoever answers that they're late in paying a court fine and have an active warrant. Or perhaps they have a relative who has been arrested. Then they say the victim must make a payment over the phone or face additional penalties.
What the scammers are able to do is to get your adrenaline running. They present you with a problem, you need to do something immediately, and they get your adrenaline running, and you possibly do more than you would think you would ever do given that situation.
Officials say that actual court and law enforcement staff never, ever ask for payment over the phone.
Authorities have sentenced a Fremont priest to nearly 5 years in prison for molesting a boy over an 18-month period. Police released this mugshot of Reverend Hector David Vela. He pleaded no contest to a series of charges stemming from the abuse. He has served as a priest in Alameda County since 2013 at St. John's Catholic Church in San Lorenzo and Corpus Christi Catholic Church in Fremont. A prestigious San Jose school is launching an investigation into years of alleged sexual misconduct by its staff. Victims say officials at Presentation High School tried to cover up that abuse. That scandal forced the longtime president of the school out, and now the new president is hoping to show support for survivors with the inquiry.
I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. The external investigation into decades of sexual abuse is a big step in the right direction.
The school says it expects the investigation to last between 6 to 9 months. Now, for her part, the new president released this statement. This external investigation is the right thing for presentation to do right now to get an impartial picture of what happened in the past.
Angry parents were out protesting this week against the Oakland Unified School District. Board members want to close down and consolidate schools that are under-enrolled. And they voted to merge Kaiser Elementary with Sankofa Elementary, which is 4 miles away. Demonstrators say they're fighting not just to preserve specific schools, but also against the overall plan.
Each time they close the school, they're actually building the school-to-prison pipeline.
Why don't they put the money into the schools, make the programs better, and attract the children back to the schools?
Oakland Unified says its schools have 11,000 empty seats, and its resources are spread too thin to continue the status quo.
Another fall season of horse racing is underway at Southern California's historic Santa Anita racetrack. It's all under intense scrutiny and tighter regulations this year after dozens of horses have died at the track. 67 horses just since the 2018 season.
Okay, it's going to feel a bit cool out there this weekend. It's going to be breezy today as well, and a small chance of rain in the North Bay on Sunday afternoon, and then that'll be the end of the excitement. We'll get back to much quieter weather for much of the rest of next week after that. Don't forget the winter weather advisory in the Sierra this week, and it's going to snow at Donner Pass.
Very exciting.
That's amazing. I'm a snowboarder, so I'm really excited for that. More snow. Well, It is time for us to call it a morning. Thank you for watching KPIX 5 News this morning.
We'll be right back here tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock.